Hello and welcome to another episode of Beyond Loss, Loving Life with Karen Chaston. Here we are, we're in May. Isn't it amazing to be into another month, the 5th month in Australia? Obviously, we're in autumn. And of course, to all my amazing friends who are in the Northern Hemisphere, you're into your spring, which is an amazing time. I should have got this before, but here we are. Most people who are connected to me know that I love to share the Hay House calendar. So let's share today's little thing about May. Love guides my every decision. The more I love myself, the more life loves me. And the more I accept the love I deserve, the more wonderful my life gets. And that's what Live, Love or Resign and, the Chaston Centre is all about. It's about helping you to come back to love, because life is a journey that takes us from love to loss and then all the way back again. So it's about assisting you to how to do it. And hi, Maria, great to see you here again. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Natasha, Nicole, Michelle, and Tracy. Yeah, it is a great calendar, but I have to admit, this calendar this year is not as, I don't know, I guess I'm not resonating with the days as much as I have in previous years. And I don't know whether that's because I've moved to another level, I suppose that we're all an eternity journey of, leveling ourselves up and up and up and up. But I do love Louise Hay. And I guess last year I had, my calendars are a gift from my amazing friend Charm. So hi, Charm, if you're on this call and obviously watching it. And Tracy, you get it. It's not as good as what it has been. But last year I had Wayne Dyer's one. And of course, Wayne Dyer was part of Hay House. And I just think he takes it to the next level, more so than the Louise Hay ones, which sometimes are great, but it's about moving the next level. So today I want to talk to you about regrets. I wrote today's post, and if you're not on my email address, the greatest way for you can do it is if you just go to the Chaston Centre or KarenChaston.com and download one of my Life Beyond Loss books. That will get you into my email sequence, which is great. And it's really good because each week I send out a couple of emails. I like to send one on Sunday, and Sunday is all about your day, because Sunday is like fun day, but it's also about you making time to have your me time. And if you're not into your me time, it's really important for you to start to get a practice where you can start to live and love who you are, get back to who you are. Now, Tracy, I've just read your message. You've gone downhill since she's passed. Yes, it has gone down a little bit downhill, but I have to say that I think his name's Reed. Is it Reed Tracy? I don't know. I think it's Reed Tracy, but I don't know if it's because your name is Tracy. But it's always still great. He was there a long time before she passed. And I do think he's doing a great job. But I also know that, let's face it, it's a business. And of course, it's going to be doing, things that they can ensure that they have money. And I'm sure that once Louise Hay passed, a lot of people did think that it would probably go down even more so. But she did set it up so that she left a legacy. It wasn't just about her time. And what I love about Louise Hay is she never even started Hay House until after. No, I don't think it's Robert Reed. No, that was the actor. No, his first name is definitely Reed, and I think it's Reed Tracy, the CEO of Hay House. Robert Reed was Mr. Brady from, if I'm remembering correctly, from the Brady Bunch. But anyway, let's get on to what I want to talk about today, which is about regrets. Because in my little post that I did today that will go out later tonight in my community, it's all about regrets. I was looking at my daughter-in-law, who is an amazing mother. She has my little grandson Raphael, who'll be 2 later this week, and she's an amazing mother. And I started to compare who I was when my kids were, young. He's only 2; he will be 2 later this week. Compared, and I was thinking, she's a better mother than what I was at that age. And then I very quickly got myself out of the comparison, because when we compare, we can go into regrets. But more importantly, we're not comparing apples to apples. And it's really important that we understand this, because who we are today is not who we were when we look back and what we have regrets over. So obviously I'm a woman now in my 60s. I'm a lot wiser than what I was. When I first became a mother to my oldest son, I was 24 and he's 40 later this year. So it's a big difference in what I knew then to what I knew now. And it's just, like I have so many spiritual practices now. I had very few. Sure, I believed in the spiritual world, and I used to, deep dive into different readings and stuff like that. But I certainly didn't embrace my spiritual side of me as what I do now. And I didn't understand then that everything that happens is happening for a reason. And whether it's happening to you personally or for the world, it is always happening for the betterment of humanity. It might not seem like it's happening for the betterment of humanity, especially if you look back at the 2020 pandemic. But in hindsight, it is definitely happening to assist us to move to the next level, to move into the 5th dimension, and to move into so many different places. Different lifetimes and different circumstances are different mindsets, and you truly can't compare people to each other. You can't compare people, but you also can't compare yourself. And that's what's really important. And thanks for that, Natasha, because that's exactly where I'm going. Like, there's no point in me comparing my daughter-in-law to who I was 40 years ago. No point in me comparing me today to who I was 40 years ago. We can learn from who we were, but more importantly, we can actually start to celebrate the fact that we are a different person. And if we knew then what we know now, we would make different choices. We would make a different awareness, and we would do things differently. And it's really important that we understand that, and that we honor who we are all the time. Now, what I love about this awareness, more importantly, is that when you have this awareness, you start to actually say, what's getting in the way of me now creating the dreams that I want? What's stopping me? And will I have regrets down the road if I don't fulfill this dream? And that, to me, is an amazing way to live each day, because we all have dreams, okay? And a lot of the times we may think they're unrealistic. We might downplay them and say, well, it is a dream and it's never going to happen. But our dreams can become reality just by us taking the action steps to make them happening. And how do we do that? So we sit back and we go, right, this is who I am today, and this is who I want to be. So what is the steps, the action steps that I need to take in order to make that happen, right? Because if we can think it, we can do it. So if we can think that we want this life, and it could be, I don't know, whether it's this dream job, or it's this dream family, or it's this dream love in our life, we can create it. And it's not just a magical, snap your fingers and it'll happen. It's about taking the action steps. And some of the action steps may be changing your beliefs, changing the fact, hi, Kerry, great to see you here, changing the fact that you're actually, thinking the way you are. and deep diving into your beliefs. Now, your beliefs may not even be your own. It could be your parents, and understanding that they did the best job that they did at that time, knowing what they did. And their beliefs may have come from the fact that that's what they were told. Like, if we go back centuries and centuries and centuries, the world was flat and everyone believed that. And, people who actually thought it was round were the minority, and they were wrong. And so we all had these different beliefs. So it's only as science has progressed and our knowledge has increased, and we live in the information age, that we get to start to say, well, is this belief serving me? And Michelle, thanks for saying this is perfect. My daughter suffers from anxiety. So have you ever deep dived into what is at the base of her anxiety? And, it could be a belief. It could even be a past life that something has happened that has come into it. And I don't want to downplay it, because I totally understand. And I am not a doctor, so I'm not going to downplay it. But when we start to deep dive into the root cause of, what our symptoms are, and obviously her anxiety is a symptom of some core belief or something, or it could even be the fact of something that has happened in her life that is causing her to be anxious all the time. And this is great. This is so great. Thanks for saying this, Michelle. I'm going to go and get my book, right? And I don't know if this is fabulous. I love this book. Let me see. So I really highly recommend. This is an amazing book for everyone to have on their bookshelf. It's a book that whenever I talk to any of my clients and they'll say, this is going on in my life, I will always grab it, because our body talks to us. The things that we do and say, our body is always constantly talking to us. And when we can deep dive into it and figure out what it is that the body is saying to us, there is something that requires healing. There is something, I feel it's like it's feeling accepted. One of the best books I've ever owned. Yeah, thanks, Tiwu. It is. She worries about others' thoughts. Now, isn't that funny? Now, and look, it's not funny, ha ha ha. It's just interesting, and I apologise if you think I was downplaying it. But what it is we can't change what anyone thinks about us, and we spend so much time worrying about what other people think about us. So let's have a look at anxiety in this book, 135. Okay, so let's have a look what it actually says about anxiety. Here it is, here it is, here it is. Thinking about the past and the future and not trusting the flow of life. Feeling insecure, unsupported, and helpless and helpless to change your situation. Focusing on negativity and limitation and allowing yourself to wallow in fear. Now, that's what Ina Segal has said about anxiety. So when you understand this, that's what you can focus on to enhance your daughter's life, to help her to see that she can create her future through what she thinks and what she believes. And then doing little different exercises to assist her in her beliefs that she feels insecure. She feels not worthy. She feels unsupported. And I'm not saying it's you that's unsupporting her. It's probably herself, and it's her beliefs that she actually feels that she's not trusting the flow of life. She's feeling that she's not good enough to be here. And I know that a lot of us go through that at different stages in our lives. And they're the things that stop us from becoming the most amazing person that we can become in our life. But I also know that the things that we suffer from are the things that we can help to heal others from. When we find our way forward and we can see a better way for ourselves. So yeah. So I hope that sort of helps you. She worries about it. Does that sort of help you a little bit? Fear of failure or disappointment, that's the thing that stops us from doing so much. But the funny thing about it is we learn so much from our failure. That's where our gifts are, that's where our lessons are, and that's where our gems are. That when we deep dive into our failure, it's amazing how we can actually learn and grow so that we don't make the same mistake twice. But more importantly, we will always learn so much more from a negative than we ever will a positive. And if you've seen me before, you'll know that I love to share that we're on a constant journey from love to loss and then back to love again. But sometimes we get stuck in the negativity, we get stuck in the loss. Now, okay, Kerry, I'll see you later. Thanks for popping in. And it's about us really understanding that the more that we deep dive into the things that are holding us back, that's where our gems are. And I know that so often it's our regrets will come from the things that have held us back. Now, for example, I've been on this journey for quite a while, since I left my corporate space. And, all my demons came up initially when I started on this journey. Like, who do you think you are to be out there telling people, the things that have happened in your life and how you've learned from them, how you've grown? Like, who do you think you are, and who wants to listen to you, and who wants to be here? And all of these demons that come up that we all have. And, if you go back to Marianne Williamson, it says, our greatest fear is not that we are good enough. It's actually is trying to dim our light, because we all are here to shine, and we're all here to offer the world a better way of being. We all have these different trials and tribulations. And the more that we actually deep dive in and get to understand that we are here to serve, we're here to actually say, oh, have you thought of this? Or have you looked at this? Because this may assist you. Just by me sharing this book with everyone today. And look, I get no commission. I get nothing by sharing this book. I just find it a really, really valuable resource to have at your fingertips. You saw how quickly I brought it over here off my bookshelf. Because when you deep dive into the symptom, you'll get to the core, the underlying core of what is stopping us from being the best version of ourselves. And that's what this is all about. It's about you being able to go, well, this has happened in my life, and this is devastating, and this has stopped me in my tracks. But I know that I want to be over there. I've deep dived into what this is about. I've deep dived in for me to actually say, this is what's stopping me, and this is the pain. And we've never been taught how to move beyond loss. We've never been taught that when things come into our life, how we can learn and grow from them. We don't want to suffer, so we push our feelings down, and which is the worst thing that we can do. And I want to spend a little moment on this, because our feelings are actually our friends. And I know that it doesn't sound that way because they hurt. But our feelings are actually giving us a guidance on what requires healing. And it could be something that we did or said, or something we didn't do or say. It could be something that the other person did, said. It's these regrets that we have because we didn't speak up, or we didn't tell them how much we love them, and then something happens and we have these things that go on in our mind, and we go, why didn't I do that? Like, that's all I had to do. And that's one of the gifts that I think that has come out of the 2020 pandemic. I don't know about you, let me know. But what I've found is I now say exactly what I think. I very rarely will I hang up without saying to someone, I love them. And they're like, oh yeah, wow, yeah, I love you too. But it's like we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. If you had these great plans to travel the world, say in 2022 and back in 2018, yeah, I'm going to save and I'm going to get all this money together. And in 4 years' time, I'm going to travel the world. Well, obviously, it's not going to happen. Certainly not the way that you thought it was going to happen. And it's like, do it now. So don't wait if you want to say something. Don't wait if you want to do something. Just go and do it. But figure out what's getting in your way and stopping you from doing, because the feelings that are stopping you are actually guiding you to say, maybe you need to heal this. Maybe you need to start to figure out what the underlying symptom, like cause is, not the symptom, the cause. Because so many things happen in our life and we put it down to this or that. But the more you deep dive into you, the more you're going to find the gems that will heal your past. And so often we get angry or we have regrets or we say all these things to people. We stop talking to these people without really deep diving into what it was that has caused this pain. And, when we deep dive into our body and our body is actually talking to us by giving us this disease or this thing that stops us from doing, the more that we can figure out, wow, this requires healing. And how do I go about that healing? And everything that comes up in our life, it happens for us, not to us. And it may be, for example, that, Michelle, with your daughter having this anxiety, it may be also helping you to heal some of the things in your life. By you assisting your daughter, you're actually assisting yourself as well, because we're the example. Our children will follow our lead, and maybe we might be stopping ourselves from doing something. And that's bringing up this anxiety as well. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying there's always different reasons why things happen in our lives. Like, for example, I read this amazing book, and it's by Robert Schwartz, and it's Our Life's Plan. And I highly recommend it. It's an amazing book. But through the book, what he does is he goes through and he explains, he meets up with all different people, and through their guide and through their higher self and through different beings on the other side, they go back to the Acacia records, to the actual life planning for this life that this person is living. And it goes back, and we all have a plan for this life, the things, the challenges that we want to work through, and our spiritual growth and all those sort of things. And what happens is that when going back to the records, they said, they went through different sort of lives. It could be the fact that, their child was killed, or it could be the fact that they became a drug addict or an alcoholic, or all different lives. It could be a murderer. It could be every single different life. So over the two books, the first one's called Your Life's Plan, and the other one's called Your Soul's Plan is the first one, and the other one is Your Soul's Gift by Robert Schwartz. I highly recommend both books, but read them in order. And anyway, in one of them, they were talking about a drug addict, being a drug addict. Now, one of my sisters has chosen that life path, and it hasn't been easy on the family, as you can imagine. But what was really, really interesting was, as I read the book, they actually said that sometimes the person chooses this path not for their own soul growth, but for everyone around them's soul growth. And when I read that words, I had a knowing. I had a knowing inside me that she had actually done it as much for herself as she did for her immediate family. And I'm one of 7 children. So there was 9 of us in our family growing up. And I just had this knowing. I thought, oh my God. And I've judged her so much over the years that it really made me realize that who am I to judge someone else? Who am I to judge someone else's life choices? And it really made me realize just how connected we all truly are. So much so that I see her once a year. We always catch up once a year. And with a couple of my other sisters, we always meet and have lunch. And it's a really great catch up, I have to say. And when I went early that day, and she was early as well, just coincidentally. And I told her about the book, and I had to and I said, look, I really want to apologize for the way I have judged you over the years. I now understand that you haven't lived an easy life. And she just looked at me and she burst out crying. She says, no, it hasn't been an easy life. And she says, but I know that this is the life I was meant to live at this time. So it's really interesting that, so often that we look at other people and we judge them based on our beliefs or based on our choices. And I have to say that when you start to realize how connected we all are and how none of us have an easy life, we're all doing the best that we can with the information that we know. And, so many people will look at me and go, oh my God, you've lost a son. Like, how can you be so happy? And how can you be doing what you're doing after doing that? And I know that this was my choice. And I know that my son, I spend more time with him than I do with his 2 brothers who are in this realm. But I also know that we chose that life so that I could wake up from my corporate days that I was in and realize that there was more to me. I would never have written a book. I would never have been a speaker if I'd stayed in my corporate life. I would never have done, all the things that I do now and love. And I certainly wouldn't have been having the health that I have now, the relationships that I have now with my family and my friends. And it's just all gone to a deeper level. And that would never have happened if Dan hadn't have passed away, because there would have been no reason for me to deep dive into all areas of my life. And in the Chaston Center model, there are 9 areas of life, which when you expand it out to the 4 pillars, they become 12. And the 4 pillars are all about you, all about your relationships, all about your expertise, and all about your wealth creation. And, under each of them, there are either 4 or 2 different areas of life. But emotionally is in all of them, which is why they go from 9 to 12. So when you start to deep dive into all areas of your life and you start to realize, this is where I am and this is where I want to be, and you start to take the action steps to close that gap and to close that gap and close that gap, so that you then do become that person that you want to be. It is about taking those daily action steps. And the good thing is that even though there are 9 different areas of life, you don't have to spend the same amount of time in all of them. You just need to focus on all of them each week. And it could be a 10-minute focus, a half-hour focus. It could be, an hour a day focus in different areas of your life. But what you focus on grows. But it's about having the awareness and deep diving into each area of your life so that you can start to ask that question, where am I now? And where do I want to be? Because until you ask that question, nothing is going to change in your life. You may be sitting around complaining about your life and blaming others and not being happy with the way things are going. But the beautiful thing is that when you stop the blame and start to become more responsible for your life, realizing that everything that happens in your life happens for you, not to you. Now, I understand that that is not an easy concept to embrace. It took me a while for me to really embrace it. My son died, of course. I've had a lot of loss in my life, as we all have. There's over 40 different loss events that can affect all of our lives. So, of course, we're all going to have a lot of stuff that happens to us. We're going to have multiple ones. We're not going to have just one. It's not as like Sally Joe gets none and I get 20. No, we all are going to have multiple major losses. But the more that we start to deep dive into them and the more that we ask those beautiful questions what does this mean for me now? What does this mean for me moving forward? How can I ensure that I can create a better everyday life? That's what I do. I help people to create a better everyday life. And I do it by them reconnecting to who they are. And the more that we reconnect to who we are, the more that we can actually say, do you know what? I love you that way. I don't really like you when you do that sort of things. I've had many relationships in my life where I had to actually say, I don't like who I am in that relationship. And I don't like that they bring that side of me out, the side that sure I need to deep dive into and heal. But what I found is the more that I deep dive in and heal that part of me, the better that relationship became. We didn't have to keep doing those things to each other. And, it could have been us being verbally abusive to each other or just the way that we were treating each other. It was just, there's so many things that everything that happens in your life happens so that it can actually really help to improve who you are mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, improve all of your relationships. Because at the end of the day, what do we have? We have relationships. And the biggest, most important relationship in our life is the one with ourselves. So I'd like to ask you, are you looking after yourself? Are you being the best version of yourself? Or are you downplaying your amazing self, your magnificent self? Let me know. Let me know what you think, is a great way for you to enhance your life at this time. Because when you deep dive into all areas of your life, are they all running along smoothly? Or are you doing like I did when I was in my corporate life, at the expense of me being very successful in my corporate life? My health wasn't ideal. My relationships were not ideal. My emotions, I was always angry. Don't understand why. But the beauty of that was years later, I had been green juicing for probably about 3 or 4 years when I read an article that actually said, if you're always angry, you require more green in your life. And when I read that article, I was, wow, I was always angry when I was in my corporate life. And I didn't green juice then, not like I do now. I didn't certainly have it every day. And then I took it one step further. I went, green is the color of the heart chakra. So not only did I need more green vegetables and more nature in my life and more, making sure that I was looking after myself, I needed more love, not only for my relationships, but for myself. Because so often in life we feel that something is missing. Have you ever felt there's just something missing in my life and I don't know what it is? Well, more than likely, it's you, because we give ourselves away. We slowly chip away at a little bit of here and a little bit of there. Can you do this for me? Sure. And then before you realize it, You're running around after everyone else and you've given up on you. You've given up on your hopes and dreams and aspirations because you think, well, I'll do that down the track. I can do that later. But can you? Like, I don't know about you. I don't have an expiry date on my birth certificate. So can you do it later? It's really important for you to understand that you are the most important person in your life. You're the only person you're going to spend your entire life with. You're the only person you spend 24/7 with each week and have done for every week of your life. So I really want to ask you today, are you putting you first? Are you making you a priority in your life? And it doesn't matter where you're at in your life. It's about you understanding that it's really important for you to always be a priority in your life. And it could be you get up an hour earlier to do your me time. It could be that you close the door and tell your family to go away while you have this half hour to yourself, where you can just sit and read or meditate, take some beautiful, conscious, loving breaths, do some exercise, go to nature, be by yourself, ground yourself. It's really important that we understand that we are the most important person in our life. And I don't care if you have young children or old children or where you are in your life. It's time for you to start to say, I require my me time. It could be 10 minutes, it could be half an hour, and it will grow. But the beautiful thing about me time is that when you take the time to put yourself first, remember when we all used to fly? We all heard that safety announcement that actually said, in case of emergency, put your own oxygen mask on first before you assist others. So that's not just a safety announcement for when you're on a plane. That's an everyday, really important notice for everyone to embrace. Because when you do embrace that as a daily practice, you'll be surprised at how much your whole entire life improves. Because not only do you top yourself up and you give yourself more energy and vitality, and you actually know that you're a priority in your life, so things start to happen, your hopes, dreams, and aspirations start to actually come to you. But more importantly, what happens is everyone else sees you as an inspiration. You're the example. You're the one that's actually getting your life all rolling along nicely in all 9 areas of your life. You're the one that's actually starting to show people you can have balance in your life. It's just a matter of actually focusing on every single area and having goals for them and designing that life that will ensure that it's all rolling along nicely. And it's that simple. We all make it all so hard because so-and-so said life is hard, so it's got to be hard. Or you can't create balance in your life. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But it all starts with you. It all starts with you saying, I want to be in my life. I need to be a priority in my life. You're not going to create balance in your life if you continually keep saying yes to everyone else and no to yourself. So maybe the next time someone asks you to do something for them, just take a couple of seconds and actually think to yourself, is this going to bring me joy? Is this going to deplete my energy? If I say yes to this person, am I saying no to me? Is this going to move me closer to my goals? Or is it going to take me further away because I'm tired, depleted, I have no energy, I have no time? Your time and your energy are your most valuable resources. But we let them deplete by running around after everyone else. It's really important for us to understand how important we are in our life. You are the only person you are going to spend your entire life with. I was in my mid-50s when I understood that. And I was really surprised it'd taken me that long to get there. But I was too busy. I was too busy creating my career and really going for it. I was too busy to actually sit back and go, does this bring me joy? Does this bring me happiness? And then I looked in the mirror and I actually went, who are you? You're not the person who I want to be. You're not doing the things that I want to do. I don't want to be depleted all the time and angry all the time. I want to have joy. I want to have fun. I want to have these amazing relationships in my life. And that's what I love to help people with. So let me know your thoughts. Everyone's sort of gone quiet, and I get it because this is quite confronting. It really is, to actually look at yourself in the mirror and actually go, are you living the life that you dreamt of when you were a kid? Are you loving life? Like, you know, we get into so many different scenarios in our life that sometimes we feel trapped and sometimes we can't see a way out. But I'm here to tell you the way out is for you to reconnect to you, for you to put you as a priority in your life, to have your me time, to realize just how important you are in your life. And you think, oh, you know, so-and-so won't allow me to do this, or, you know, all this sort of stuff. We come up with all these excuses and all these reasons why not. But at the end of the day, do you really want to live your life and then go on to your next adventure and do a life review and go, oh my God, what did I do? You know, I just ran after everyone else. I was never an inspiration for anyone else. And the more that you live and love your life, that's how you become an inspiration. It's not about doing these great feats and all this sort of stuff. It's about showing people that you can live and love your life and be successful. But it starts with you. It starts with you loving you. And that it's about you reconnecting to you, which I just think is the most amazing thing. And that's why I created Revitalize Your Life. It's a 45-day series where each day I send you a realization, a something to think about. It's a new awareness. You know, it could be something like you matter. It could be your me time matters. Your time matters. Your health matters. What you think matters. Your thoughts matter. So I really would love for you all to just check it out. Just come along and just check out the Revitalize Your Life, because when you actually start to, I'm going to stick it up here. Let me show you. Okay. It's Revitalize Your Life. I put the link in the comments. But the thing about it is, right, because I know how important this is, because I can tell you right now, when I was in my corporate life, I was screaming for something like this. And it's $1 a day, $45 in total. I have purposely made it that price because I know how important it is for you to get your life back on track. I know how important it is for you to be able to wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and give yourself the old Fonzie salute. You know, the Fonzie salute. Hey! I love you. I love everything about you. I'm so excited about the day I'm about to have. Do you wake up like that? Do you say things like that into the mirror each morning? Okay, Nikki, it was embedded in me to give and give, but little by little learning it all starts with me, actually, me first. Nikki, I totally agree. It's been embedded in all of us. You're selfish if you put yourself first. Who do you think you are? We can't keep giving and giving and giving. We just can't. We just don't have the energy. We don't have the resources. It's about the funny thing about it is the more you give to yourself, the more you end up giving to others. You actually end up giving more to others when you put yourself first. Now, you would think that it would be the other way around, that it would never happen. But the thing is, it will always happen. And the reason why it always happens, it's like we are, remember that the Tim Tams ad where the genie just fills it up, an endless supply of Tim Tams? That's what seems to happen with you when you start to put yourself back. You end up with an endless supply of love, of gratitude, of energy, vitality, of it's just endless because you've honored yourself. And the more you honor yourself, the more you end up honoring others. It's just quite ridiculous because logically you think it would be the other way around. It's like when you go, for exercise, just go for a run, right? You're sitting on the couch and you're thinking, oh my God, I'm so tired. There's no way I can go and do this. And then you get all of this stuff, you just rally around all inside of you, go, just get up and go, don't think about it. And then when you start running, you just start to get more energy and you may run for half an hour and then you come back and you're energized. Whereas before you went, you were depleted. You would logically think, I'm out there exercising, so I'm running and moving my body, so I'm going to be more depleted when I come back. But you're not. It's the other way around. And that's what happens when you start to look after yourself. You start to get all of this extra energy inside of you and your feel-good hormones go rampant in your body. Your parasympathetic nervous system just goes, yeah, I'm with you, girl or guy, and I'm coming and we're going. And that's what happens when you start to look after you. But because, as Nikki said, it was embedded into us that we can't look after ourselves first, we end up living this life of being unfulfilled, having regrets, wondering when the hell is it ever going to be my time? And, we end up as empty nesters after looking after and giving to our children for years and years and years. And we wonder why they don't come and see us. And we wonder why there is this, why is it I'm the one that always has to reach out to these people? Why does no one ever reach out to me? And it happens, I see it over and over and over again. The amount of clients that I've had that have said to me, I don't have a relationship with my children. And it's really, really sad. It's really, really sad. Believe me, because I have an amazing relationship with my children. Even the child who I adopted out when I was 16, right? And it took us a long way to get to the relationship we have now, over 20 years. But we have an amazing relationship now because I had to use my voice. I had to start to look after me. I had to start to look in the mirror and say, I don't like who you are when you're around her. Why aren't you your normal self? Why are you doing and saying things that you would never do with anyone else? And once I started to honor me and started to put myself first and started to be the person who I want to be, that's when our relationship improved. So I'm here to tell you that when you put yourself first, amazing things happen. And because we're so used to putting ourselves last, we don't know how to do it. And that's why I created Revitalize Your Life. It's a 45-day series where each day I load a new awareness into your own little dedicated area. I've purposely made it $1 a day. Don't devalue it because it's $1 a day. I could easily have sold it for $10 a day, believe me. And the reason why I made it $1 a day is because I want people to taste it, to not have money as an excuse. I can't do that. I can't afford that. So you need to understand that you are the most important person in your life. So If you cannot find $45, my heart goes out to you. I would beg, borrow, steal, whatever. No, I wouldn't steal it. But anyway, thank you for being here. Let me just have a look at these comments. We can't teach our children this either. That one gets me. You can teach your children, Nikki. I am going to disagree with you on that. And the way that you teach anyone is through example. So the more that you become that person, the more they will become that person. You can't tell people what to do. You can show them. And we show them through our actions. So once you start to honor you and you start to actually show them that this is the way, people are watching you all the time. And they're not watching you from a negative point of things. Sometimes it's actually subconsciously they're watching you. They see what you do and they see what works and they see what doesn't work. So when you start to show them this is the way that works, I've started to put myself first. That's how you show your children. And that's how they will then embrace the concept as well. Thanks, Karen. Good to remind myself logically it makes sense. Of course it makes sense. You know, it's common sense. And sometimes common sense is not common practice. And that's what it's time for us to all to understand, that it's time for us to put ourselves first, to common sensely look after ourselves mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. And from there, we then move on to our relationships. We can then deep dive into all of our relationships. I meant I don't want to show my son how I put myself first. Okay. I don't understand, Nikki. You don't want to show him how you put yourself first, or you don't know how to show him how to put yourself first. I'm not really sure. Maybe I've misunderstood what you mean, because we can show them. Our actions show them. We can't tell them. You know, we can tell people how for long, but it's about your actions. It's about you actually living and walking your talk. And that's what I like. Okay. Last time. Oh, okay. I put myself, last. How I don't want to show my son how I put myself last. That's right. Okay, I'm with you. Sorry, not first. Yeah. Start putting yourself first and you'll be amazed at how much you'll go, wow, Mum, thanks for showing me. Because we're all important. We're all important people in our lives. And when we look after ourselves mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, that's how every single other relationship, whether it's a friendship or whether it is a, work relationship or a, socially, it's a relationship. That's how we actually create better relationships. And that's how we create a better world. And at the end of the day, isn't that why we're all here? To leave it better than how we found it. And with that note, I'm going to leave you all today. So thank you all for being here. I really do appreciate you being here. Thanks for playing with me. Thanks for commenting. It is just one simple step each day. That's correct, Nikki. That's what my program is all about. And here's the link again. I highly recommend that everyone deep dives in. It takes you less than 45 minutes each day to do it. And if you can't find 45 minutes, you need it even more than I would like to say. As Buddha would say, everyone should meditate for 20 minutes every day. And if you can't find 20 minutes, you need to meditate for an hour. And that's how I feel about Revitalize Your Life. It's really great. Okay, that's it. Have an amazing week, and I will see you all back here at this time next week. Bye, everybody. Let me play my little amazing little music. Wait on. Thank you.